All right. Hello, CNC brothers and sisters. I'm Garrett with IDC Woodcraft with a very different background today. And we got our sister. There we go.
Kate Tucker from Women Who CNC. It's so good to be back, you guys. I missed you terribly last week, but I'm so glad that Mark was able to jump in and fill in for me. So yeah, I've got healthy kids now. Tomorrow's Thanksgiving. It's going to be a good rest of the week. So
yeah.
All right.
Kate, you've been kind of busy, haven't you, with getting ready for Thanksgiving?
Yes. Yeah. I actually have all of my family inside. So I just want to say a quick hello to them because they're actually watching.
Hi, fam.
Yeah.
The same ones I met last time?
I don't remember if you met Tim and Amber. So my best friend and her husband, and then their two boys, they're family. They've been family for the last 20 years. I call her actually my sister. But that's okay. So anyway, yep, they're tuning in tonight, kind of hanging out. So I just want to say hey to them. They're all sitting around the dinner table giving me rash crap for having to do this. And I said, hey, I got to show up. That's what it's all about.
Yep. Well, hello, CNC brothers and sisters. This is our regular Wednesday night CNC Chew the Fat hangout, pre-Turkey Day Eve kind of. We're just going to relax into this one, not work so hard tonight, just hang out with our brothers and sisters and answer some questions and see what everybody's talking about today. All right, you guys are in there. Who is number one, Kate? Let's say some hellos and see who the first one was on board.
All right. So I am looking from my end that it was Jack in the shop, and I just kind of have to chuckle at this because his only 6 more hours. Jack, oh my goodness. You are not in the kitchen enough helping your wife. That's all I'm going to say.
You know what? I'm with Jack in the shop, man.
Oh my gosh. All right. So let's see.
I have to say this. I remember Mom told me something after all the kids grew up and we were hanging out. I was hanging out with her. We were playing cards or something. She said, I used to get so mad at your dad on Thanksgiving because after all the food was done, she was left in the kitchen while we were all down playing pool or cards or something like that. I said, Mom, you should just come on down. Just come down with us. Anyway,
let's keep
saying hello.
All right. Well, I see we've got Raven that popped in next. Hello. Welcome back. We've got Doug. Doug says he is late to the party. He's only got 3 hours. You are so not late to the party. Oh my gosh.
We have to come up with some kind of little trinket that we can send to these guys when they start a competition. Who's the first one on board that we can see, right? We'll mail it out to them. Who can collect the most first trinkets?
Oh, okay. I think that would be a really cool idea. We could use our laser and cut out like first place or something.
Yeah. All right. We'll put it out to the group then. Come up with some the first on the docket trinket. Now I think we can only see. Yeah, I think we can only see 24 hours ahead of time. So if I post that we're going to be doing this like 36 hours at a time, then
my gosh.
But anyway.
That could be a little interesting.
Yeah.
I think we would have to keep it to 24 hours just because, I mean, if that's what we could only see, then I think that would be only fair.
Yeah.
So, all right, let's see. So we've got Ralph. He says, good evening and happy Thanksgiving to all. That's so very, very nice of you. So we've got Oz back. Hey, how you doing, Oz? So we've got Richard. Oh, let's see. Who else do we have on here? Hey, Ellen, how are you doing?
Hey,
I feel like we've got some, I feel like Randy's Woodworking. I'm not sure. I haven't seen that name before, but since Julianne's been in the back kind of helping us out a little bit, I don't get to follow along with the live feed as much anymore. So I apologize. But I see Chris is back on here. Hey, Chris. Hope you are doing well tonight. And I see Gary Lynn. Gary, I wanted to let you know I checked out that Winfield collection that you were talking about last week and that you've actually been talking about for quite some time. They've got some neat projects in the Winfield collection. So thank you for sharing that. All right, so let's go ahead and start popping into some questions. What do you think?
Sure, why not? Yeah, why not? Saw a couple interesting ones out there. Yeah, let's bring it on. What do we got? Oh, wait. Before we do that,
Okay.
So brothers and sisters, Kate and I are here being the face of the whole show here, but we've got our expert in the background that's managing everything for us, checking out and starring all the questions, making sure that people are staying sober on the channel and not being big buttheads. And that's Julianne. She's the administrative coordinator for IDC Woodcraft, and the person that's keeping me in track and keeping IDC Woodcraft organized. So you have not seen him before, so I asked her permission if she could come out and say hello, and so she said yes. So Julian, this is the lady behind the scenes that is making sure this whole thing is working well. Say hi to our brothers and sisters, Julian.
Hello. And apologies if I ever forgot to start anybody's question previously. I do my best.
Yeah, that's what she does. She stars the questions, so they're put in a certain spot for us. Julian, why don't you share with the brothers and sisters what you do in IDC Woodcraft to help keep things oiled, keep the machine running?
Well, aside from keeping you organized, mainly help out Liberty with shipping when she needs it, keeping inventory going, communicating with various affiliates and vendors, and just kind of organizing the whole shebang. Financial stuff, just anything that needs organizing. So
yeah, Julian has
a full-time job.
Somehow she's secretly needled her way into a lot of access. Yeah, look at that.
You know what? That I think it's so fantastic because you took you took a really long time to pick the right person, and I will say 100% you absolutely picked the right person to be your partner to do this job, because you were looking for someone that was local, that was going to be there to be in the shop, in the grind of doing all of those things. And you had quite a few applicants.
I had a ton of applicants. Yeah. Julian ran through a lot of filters. Obviously, she got to the last filter.
Well, hopefully. Don't replace me now.
Yeah.
No. 2 months to find her. So anyway, I just wanted everybody to see who's in the background, who's running the show, and when you're not happy with me, you can get on the phone, call Julian, and she'll get me straightened out.
There you go.
All right. Okay. We'll pop Julian back out in the background, and let's roll on with some more questions and comments. Let's hit it, sister.
All right. So let's we've got Mr. Gary Lynn up first. Good evening, Garrett and Kate. Just wanted to thank you for being great mentors. Giant kudos to Julianne for being on top of things. Received all of my bits. Hope you have a wonderful Thanksgiving. Well, thank you, Gary. That is very nice. That's very nice. And happy Thanksgiving to you.
You too. I'm curious when you're saying mentors, there's different kind of contexts that people use when they use the term mentor. So I'm kind of curious if you throw in a comment, define mentor for me in this case, right? With Kate, I've been a business mentor for her, and right, and but other people have called it, said, "Can you mentor me in the design software?" Things like that. So curious
teachers.
Okay.
Yeah. All right. Well, let's see what we've got here. So we've got Mr. Richard. Welcome back, sir. He says, question, when finishing sanding an epoxy pour 1/4 inch in a pocket cut in my charcuterie board with a V in the bottom, what sanding disc grit do I need to finish with in order to have a high gloss? So you're cutting a pocket But it says you've got a V in the bottom, which is, you know, here nor there. So it really depends on, I mean, if you're putting it into a charcuterie board, you really don't need to sand to have like an ultra high gloss finish like a lot of people do when you're trying to work with a like a transparent epoxy, something like that. If that is the case and you're working with a transparent epoxy, you need to start somewhere in the realm of, I would say about 120, and then you can work your way up to about, I'd say 220, 320. And then after that, you can switch to a wet sanding and then work your way up through the grits up to usually about 1200. And then you can even go higher from there, just depending on the finish. But as far as just working with epoxy and charcuterie boards, normally you're working with either a dark grain or a light grain, and your odds are you're going to be working with some type of pigment or alcohol ink or something like that. So when you do that, normally I would sand to about 320. And then I just wipe everything with off with alcohol. And then once you apply like a Rubio's or mineral oil or whatever your choice of sealant is for the wood, it's going to make that gloss on that epoxy shine really, really well. So that's kind of what I do. So
Right.
there's
Right.
that.
I'm not the one to be asking that. By the way, scroll up a little bit. There's some questions above his. So we got.
Oh, okay.
Hi, Ellen.
All right. Well, Ellen, she says, question. Will you do a quick refresh on how to make a polyline to go to a specific spot with an angle? Making a part, I can't remember what video it was talked about this. Thanks.
Go to
So,
a specific spot. Okay. I'll have to jump into the Vectric software and take a look real quick. Just I don't want to jump. Oh, I'm on a different computer. Go ahead and answer a different question while I just got to refresh myself on that one.
all right, sure thing. Okay, this is kind of a funny one. What's the best way to mount a turkey on my CNC to carve it? Well, Mr. Randy, I don't know. Maybe a rotary.
Yeah, that's my suggestion. What you do is you go see Jack in the shop, right? He's got a plasma cutter that he's put on his CNC router, right? So you just get a rotary and mount that on your CNC router and turn the plasma cutter on. And I suspect that you will not only have turkey cooked rather quickly, it'll be sliced at the same time. So
there it is. There it is.
Right.
Oh my goodness.
Okay, I can answer her question. It's pretty easy.
Okay. All right,
So
go right ahead.
Share screen, bring that up, Vectric right there. And there we are. And let's see, just okay. So I am in line mode right now. And I'm gonna fix this. Julian, can you make that whole screen, please? Thank you. All right. So let me get my mouse into the screen here. Okay, there we go. So I'm in line mode right now, and at the polyline selection, and at the top it says X and Y. Those would be the start point. If I put in 0 for X and 0 for Y, I believe this is right. And then we're going to put in the angle field, if it's going to let me do that. My thing is flashing, so it's not. Oh, I'm still in the wrong field. And so maybe I'm wrong. Maybe I'm wrong here. So I'm going to hit enter, and it started at a specific point, and now I can type in my angle. I want 45 degrees, and I want it to go to a specific point or a length. So if I wanted at a specific length, I would just go into the L and type in 1, and now there's a 1-inch line there. So I'm going to undo that, escape, and re-get into polyline. We're going to start at 0, 0 again. So I have 0, 0 in X and Y. And then I'm going to hit enter, and that's starting the line. And now I'm going to put in, we'll put in 36 degrees. And down at the dx, dy, I can plug in my second set of coordinates. So if I want my second set of coordinates to be 1 for X, now we'll make it 2 for X. All right, that's going to put it 2 inches over, and I can do -1 for Y, and enter. And now it has created an angle that is at minus, what was that, 36, and it's at those points that we were defining in that as we were moving along. So does that make sense, Kate? Did I make sense there?
Yes. Yes, very much so.
Okay. All right.
Yes.
I can end the screen share then.
Well, hopefully, Ellen, that was a very clear image of.
Yeah. You know what? I'm
What
going to
you're
show
wanting.
them the construction lines real quick too.
Yeah. There's a quick question from WXX. He says, how do you edit this line easily?
Oh, good question. How do I edit this line easily? You know what? I've never thought about trying to edit a line after I drew it. So I'm going
Maybe
to
just Control Z and just.
well, I can Control Z. That will back me up.
Yeah.
Right. But if I want to edit the line, that may be a different story. I think it's going to be pretty easy, but I have to get in there and do it. So answer another question, and I'll play with that real quick.
All right. Okay, so let's see. This is a little bit of a loaded question, but we'll see. Hi, Jared. How are you? He says, I just finished designing a Batman negative cutout and would like to fill the voids with a clear resin to be backlit. Can you recommend a good resin that isn't overpriced, please, and thanks? So I work with super clear epoxy. It's one that I really like. I feel like you get really good results with it if you're looking for a clear resin. The problem with a lot of resins when you go too cheap is you're really compromising the quality. And if you want it to truly be clear and not have a lot of bubbles, you usually want to go with a little bit of a kind of a median priced. The thing I like about super clear epoxy is you can actually buy like a half gallon, or actually I'm not sure if it's a half or maybe if it's like 3/4, but it's a 1-to-1 ratio. It's personally, I really like it. I've had really good results with it. It's not my go-to for deep pour, but for top coats and things like that, that is 100% my go-to. It's always done really, really well for me. So I hope that helps. And good luck on your project. That sounds very cool with it being backlit. All right. Are you ready, or do you want me to take another one?
Well, yeah. So to edit, I'm not finding how you can like edit specific, like if I can change the endpoint of a line from one location to another. So I'm not seeing that as readily available to do. There are lots of other ways to edit lines, to move them around. But specifically, if I want to make one line from 1 inch to 2 inches, I'm not finding that right now.
Yeah, that's why I said maybe just Control Z and then enter in the new coordinate.
Yeah. Yeah. That's an
That would be the only thing I could think of.
I mean, I'll show you a couple other ways to just play with lines to move them around real quick, just because we're not going to be bombarded with questions tonight. We have about half the population on the channel today because everybody's getting ready for Thanksgiving and have some turkey. By the way, drop in the comment. What are you doing? Are you staying home, hanging with just your spouse, or are you got kids coming over, grandkids coming over, you traveling somewhere? For me, my Thanksgiving will be Friday, so I will be home, probably working tomorrow a good chunk of the day.
Oh no.
Yeah. Well, my daughter, she is She has Thanksgiving with her in-laws on Thanksgiving Day. So
Got it.
Thanksgiving used to always be at my house until Barbara died. And then for a couple of years, kept it at my house, and then that kind of faded away. So now my goal is to buy a house and have family get together here on a regular basis. Yeah, because we travel. Christmas is my sister's. The summer party is at my brother's in Pennsylvania. So that's Tennessee and Pennsylvania. And then every 3 years we go to Hawaii. And
Ooh, that sounds nice.
yeah. So anyway, other ways to edit a line. You can move a line. I've got a line selected, and you can go to the transform objects menu and go to the first icon, and that will bring up the move command, right? And then you can relocate the line. Right now, it's got the center icon right there, and right up there is selected. So that means that any movements we make are going to be based off the center, and we can change several functions down in this area here, and then we can change the location. And right now it's at -5, and I say, okay, I want it at 2, and I enter that and I apply that. Now just move that line specifically to 2 inches over in the X direction. So that's a way that you can reposition lines.
Mm-hmm.
So and then you got
Yeah, I will say
then you got those
that's
wonderful construction lines. What's that?
That's exactly what I was going to say, was those construction lines are so nice to have. And you can actually, if you right click on those lines as well, you can do the same thing. And then you can edit those. So if you're doing any type of like sign work and you need to have, so much spacing between each row of letters, so then that way you have adequate spacing and everything looks symmetrical, these are great to use.
Yeah. So how you work with construction lines, we'll run through that real quick. When you have the the scale at the top and the scale at the left, if you hover your mouse over the scale, then hold your right mouse button down. And on that note, if you are not a mouse user, get a mouse, please. You will make your life so much easier. Anyway, hover over the scale, either the side one or the top one, hold the left mouse button down, and you can drag out a construction line. And that's exactly what I did right here. Now, if we want to get rid of one, we can hover over the construction line and just drag it out, and it's gone. So that's what I just did there. And now I've got one left. I can hover over it, right click, and I can alter that construction line by changing the settings in it. So I'm going to change that to 45 degrees, and I'm going to place it at exactly -1 inches from the y-axis, and click apply. And now that has moved. And that 1 inch is right there, I believe. No, it's not. I'm not sure where exactly it is. But I rotated 5 degrees and 45 degrees and repositioned it. So you can work with them that way as well. Construction lines, I got a video out that talks to you how to use them, because they are so useful if you need to be exact.
Yes. Yes, absolutely. I have a student that I worked with quite a bit, and he's actually an airplane pilot and has his own airplane, and he does the control panels. He wanted to redo the control panels. And so we were working through in our one-on-one sessions on how to, utilize those construction lines to get things exactly. I mean, because you have to imagine a small aircraft has, the pieces have to be incredibly accurate when you're cutting those out to make sure that things are going to fit where they're going to fit. So those construction lines were really, really helpful. So, all right, let's tackle a couple more questions. So Oz was asking, I noticed there were a couple of questions here. Oz was asking about a ball nose beast to basically go in and get rid of all of that little bitty details. I don't know. I could see both both pieces. Roughing bits meant to destroy, not to be neat and tidy.
Yeah.
I couldn't even imagine what a ball-nosed beast would even look like. That would be kind of scary looking.
Right. You know, there's one of the things that determines what router bits I stock are if people keep asking me for the same thing. So this is the first ask for a ball nose roughing bit, hog, beast, or whatever. So they have to pile up. I have to see justification for it in just logically in my machining experience.
Mm-hmm.
What would you use?
Yeah.
I think he's being fun here, but I'm wondering what would you use a ball nose beast for?
Well, okay, so I'll give you like the perfect example. I may even have to go move my CNC and drag my computer over there and show you. I sent you a picture, but so I did this massive wavy 3D flag. It's looking so incredible. But I will say I got a little disheartened because the first roughing tool pass I actually did with the hog, and it was 3 hours for the roughing. I mean, it was insane. And then the second tool path I did with a 1/4 inch ball nose just to go in and clean up things was 9 hours. But before you come for me, I just want to tell you, it says it has the entire Pledge of Allegiance on each part, each section of the red. And so that had to be all carved out with that 1/4 inch ball nose, and maybe like a tapered ball nosed beast could have gone in and cleaned up all of that, and maybe that would have shaved some time off. Now, the last and final tool path that I started to run last night was just a full taper ball nose, and I think I was running it at like maybe 100 inches a minute. I can't remember, or maybe I think it might have been 80, but it was 16 hours.
Oh, good Lord.
I know. I was like, holy crap. But I will say this. I was a little disheartened when I started running it because the lettering, for some reason, I don't know if it was in the design of the STL that I bought on Etsy, the lettering when I did the tapered ball nose, it was cutting outside of where the 1/4 inch ball nose did. So it's just not looking as good as it was.
Right. Gotcha.
I don't know. Do you want me to show you what it looks like?
Yeah, I mean, you might as well. You're talking about it.
Yeah, let me grab my stuff real quick.
Okay. In the meantime, let's see. Oz says the beast does a great job of roughing out. Yes, it does. The beast is the most aggressive bit out there. I mean, it can tolerate so much. When I ran that, most of you know, I ran the beast at 1,000 inches per minute, full depth, 1 inch depth of cut in maple at a 80% step over, and it just didn't flinch a bit. I was trying to break the bit. I always want to take the bits that I have designed to the point at which I can break them. So I do waste carbide.
All right. Okay. All right. You had a good point where you want me to drag you over there?
You can drag us over.
All right. Let's check it out. Yeah. Hey, what's up?
Oh, look at that.
So, yeah. So this is just 1.5 inch pine. I bought this piece at Lowe's, but you can see, so I came in and just kind of painted everything. It was looking so good. I actually went ahead and came in and started. Sorry, I'm trying to hold my computer here while doing this. So you can see some of the letters started to look really good, and they were doing fine. But when I came up here and I was running that toolpath, look how much they came down. Like,
oh, wow.
You can see where it was carving out, but look, it like started to interfere with the white.
Yeah. And that's
and then it came down here, and even here it like just destroyed it. Like, I mean, the top of the O is right here.
Yeah.
I don't know if you guys can see that okay.
Yeah.
And then it was missing all of this right here.
Wow.
And it did the same. I mean, look at what it did up top. You guys see that?
Yeah. Is that
How
part of
much,
the
how
model?
much that tore that out.
Is that
What's
actually
that?
part of the model, or is that text that you inserted into the design?
No, it was in the model that I was working with and doing, because here's the thing: when I uploaded the STL, the pledge was actually inserted. It was all one layer. So, and I even messaged the guy and I said, can you break apart can you like put it on a separate layer for me? So then that way I can just go back in and just do that instead of having like do the tapered ball nose and just do that instead of like every other small little detail on the flag. And he said, no. He said he could have it on SVG and I could basically recreate it. And I'm like, I don't want to try and recreate the entire STL and make sure that things are going to be like precision. So yeah, I'm a little disheartened, but what I'm thinking about doing is actually taking I'm thinking about taking the model and lowering it within Vectric, because I have VCarve Pro. And so I was thinking about lowering the model and then coming back in with the hog and then just kind of starting over, I guess, if you will. So
Okay.
I don't know, a little frustrating.
Right. Oh, our brother Mark Lindsay has joined us too. John Howell was asking, how did you get the colors?
I painted it all.
Okay.
I actually painted it all by hand. So we won't sit. There's no video footage of me painting that thing on the CNC. We're not gonna cross that bridge. Because yeah, it was an interesting job
Yeah.
painting it. So
Okay. All right. We got the questions starting to pile up, so we're gonna have to.
all right,
Yeah.
let's do it.
Yep. And let's see. So Ellen said, I'm having a sale tomorrow. She might have to break out her router bit wallet. So tomorrow, starting around noon at IDC Woodcraft, we are running Black Friday, and that's running all the way through Cyber Monday till midnight Cyber Monday. And yeah, so when you see the banner pop up on the website, that means it's active. So somewhere right around noon,
Okay.
at Eastern time, it's going to go live. And so starting a little early.
All right. This question's from Mr. Jerry. He's over on our Facebook side.
Hi, Jerry.
He says, I am working with a 16 by 21 sign with raised lettering, and a textured background. The time for the texturing is 2 hours and 50 minutes. Is there a trick to reduce that amount of runtime? Like, I'm not sure what kind of texture you're working with.
Yeah, I've not run texture, so I can't really give feedback on that one. I know texture, I did a long time ago, and I remember it having a long run time. Texture can be almost like 3D modeling, or the 2.5D stuff.
Yeah. Up and down, up and down, up and down.
Yeah. Well, remember, when the more complex the motions that the router bit has to do through the carve, the longer it's going to take, because it can never really get up to speed. And like if you're running at 100 inches per minute and it's doing a lot of this, it can never get up to 100 inches per minute. So that may have something to do with why that's taking that kind of time. Jerry has messaged me several times, DM'd me. So, Jerry.
And I will say a 16 by 21 sign is a pretty good size sign. So I'd say probably 2 hours and 50 minutes is probably pretty reasonable for what you're trying to do. Also depends on what type of bit you're working with too. So
yeah, the finer the bit, the longer it's going to take. That's just the law of the land when it comes to CNC routing.
I feel you, Jerry. When that final toolpath on that flag said 16 hours, I was just like,
yeah. You know, I will say on that note though, right? When we first get into CNC, and we start seeing the run times that the software is projecting, And we sometimes want to say, how can I cut that runtime down? And sometimes you just can't, right? There is a
Yeah.
limit to which you can knock it off, because it just, you
Yeah.
have such a certain size bit that's going to cover a certain amount of real estate at a certain depth, and the level of finish that you're going to get off of it is going to depend on these feeds and speeds that you're working on. So
Yes.
you don't want to go ripping through wood. I did put a video out that how you can cut your runtime down by significant amount. So if you ever wonder that, but sometimes you just got to eat it with the runtime. That dragon thing I did, that was a 9-hour carve, because even though I was running at 140 inches per minute, the router bit could never get to that speed. It was doing so much of this.
And it was only what? I mean, it was only maybe like 8 inches at the most by what, like 24?
It's about 7 inches tall by 32 inches wide.
Okay. 9 hours. I mean, that's, I mean, you just really have to pay attention to what type of wood you're cutting, what type of bit you're working with, what speed you're running at. I mean, there are a lot of variables that can go into a project that you're working with.
Yeah. So, and on that note, the software was telling me it would run in 2.5 hours. But the software can't calculate for acceleration and deceleration that the router bit's doing all the time, constantly.
Yeah. All right. Hi, Jason.
Hi, Jason.
I love his question. He's drawing attention to that with the exclamation points. Yes. Why do I have this a lot? 0.25 clearing, 0.125 cleanup. So I would say if you're cutting with a 1/4 inch end mill or beast or something like that, and you're pocketing out an area or you're trying to clean up an area, the 1/4 inch end mill or that 1/8 inch end mill is going to come in behind it, and it's going to clean up everything that the 1/4 inch end mill couldn't. So I would like to assume that you're doing some kind of pocketing, but I mean, you can do the same thing in, V carving. I mean, there's a lot of different variables that things you can do with the clearing passes.
Yeah. The best way you can clear is to reduce. Well, never mind. Go ahead. Go to the next one.
No, you're good.
I'm good.
Okay. So absolute best custom wood products Padilla.
You know what? That is such an awesome, ballsy name. I love it. I love when people are assertive and bold like that. Right? So what a great name.
You remember it.
Yeah. Hell yeah. Absolutely.
Yeah. All right. Well, welcome. So being new to VCarve Pro, I struggled when trying a fillet to create a round corner. Would you explain that again, please? Thanks.
I get a fillet going around. Let me just see. Trying to get a fillet to create a rounded corner. Okay. All right. That's a lot of fun. I love doing fillets.
All right. Do you want to pull up Vectric?
Yeah, I'll bring it up.
Okay.
All right.
Very good.
You get to do the next one. How's that?
Okay.
Okay. Let's create a rectangle. First of all, I want to get that line out of there, and I'm going to create a rectangle right there. And so the first thing you can do, we are in rectangle mode, and I just created a random rectangle. And first of all, there's this little area right here that you can dictate a fillet, a rounded fillet or an inverted fillet, right? So it's radius corner or an internal radius. So this is the first way. If you want to get all 4 corners taken care of, you can select that, and it shows you in a little image next to it what you're set on right now. So you can see it's on an external rounded, and if I select the lower one, then it says we're on an internal rounded, and all we have to do is say what the radius is that we want in it. By just changing that number, we'll put a 1 for that radius, and if we apply, we have now created the most ugly rectangle on the planet. But the good thing is we can change that right here while we're still in it, and that rectangle is selected by, I'll just say, we'll just change it to 0.25 and apply, and now it just changed that rectangle. I'm going to deselect it so you can see what we just did. And the cool thing is oh, I goofed up. I wanted an external radius, not an internal radius. You can select that rectangle, and while it's selected, then go back into the rectangle function, and now you can re-edit that, and we'll simply make it an external radius and then apply and close, and there we have just changed it like that. But let's say you want to add radiuses in weird spots. So we're going to delete the rectangle, and I'm going to make, this will work for a rectangle as well, what I'm about to show you. So I have made a zigzag line, and I want to put a radius around all these corners. Down in the edit objects area, the third icon down on the very left, it is the fillet function. Select that, and if you just want to do a radius, make sure the top item is selected. And in the top area where the blue is highlighted, put the number that you want. We'll say we want a 0.25 radius, a 1/4 inch radius, and we simply come over and hover over the corners. So you can see the cursor has a little radius drawing on it and a little plus sign. So you take the little plus sign and hover it over the corner and click, and it'll put the fillets in just like that. And if you goof up and you didn't want to do this particular corner, you just come back and click over it again, and it'll undo. So we can simply undo each one and redo each one all day long if you wanted to do that. So there we go.
Very cool. Well, thank you for that awesome demonstration. It's so nice to have Vectric sometimes. I'm lucky my Wi-Fi is holding on. I have like the lowest little bar on my Wi-Fi. I'm just like, hold on, little buddy. Hold on. Don't fail me now.
Right.
All right. What's that?
That's it, right.
Yeah. All right. Let's see.
Julian's in the background smiling over that one too.
Hi, Tim. How you doing this evening? He says, question, I'm using Vectric desktop, and have you ever run into the spindle not shutting off after finishing a cut? I don't have a spindle, so I can't answer that one.
Yeah, and I have not mounted my spindle on my machine yet, so I can't answer that yet either. But that would have to do with the code that's being put in your G code by the post processor. So when you select in your Vectric software or any software, you're going to generate your G code, you have to have a post processor. And that post processor is dictating how that program is written in certain ways. It inserts fields in the front, it puts in other codes, and then you have your regular G code. And at the end, it should turn your spindle off. And if it's not, then your post processor is not plugging that M code in. It's an M code in the G code file.
That's a mouthful. M code in the G code file.
Right. Well, if you look at your G code files, you'll have an F for feed. There'll be G1, G0. There's lots of G for and then there's quite a few M codes that are in that, right? Because for industrial CNC, you need to turn on coolant, you need to turn the coolant off, and those are all M codes. It's turn the spindle on, turn the spindle off, turn the spindle in reverse, various things like that. There's lots of M codes as well.
That's pretty cool, though. I mean,
so M stands for for machine commands, basically.
Okay. All right. See, I'm always learning too.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Well, let's see. Who do we have up next? So we have Dan. Hey, Mr. Dan. He is talking about the polyline edit. To edit the line, wouldn't you use node edit mode and move the first or last node?
You know what? I possibly could. I didn't think about the node editing, but I'll play with it while you're handling the next one.
All right. Well, let's see what we've got here. Let's see. We've got Rip City Concepts. Very catchy name. When using a tapered ball nose for V-carve inlays, should I make the tool an engraving tool or V-carve? You know, this is a tricky one. I've actually never done an inlay before, so I don't think I can speak to that one.
I've done an inlay. What's the question? When using a tapered ball nose for V-carve inlay, should I make the tool an engraving tool or V-carve tool? When you do inlays, use the V-carving toolpath.
There we go.
Yeah.
All right. That takes care of that one.
I will show you something on this that I forgot about. With based on a previous question that Dan brought up. So I've got this weird zigzag drawing sitting here right now, and if I get my mouse on the screen, there are some interesting things you can do. You can do this with multiple different things. So right now I'm grabbing this endpoint node, and I can now move it around. Now, if I just come over this way at any random angle, and I'm going to hit 2, and that's equivalent to 2 inches, and I hit enter, that node has moved along that plane the 2 points that I just created, where and it went 2 inches, created a 2 inch displacement, right? And now I can take this node back down, and I can just throw it right into the center line. So now it's snapped right to the intersection, and I can grab that node again and follow that horizontal line up and type in 1, enter, and now that node has just moved up 1 inch straight up that line. So it's snapped on the vertical.
Yeah.
And I can take that.
I can see that. I think my question would be is, how do you maintain the integrity? I mean, I guess I could see if you wanted to make the length a little bit different of one angle or another, but just keeping the integrity of the angle intact.
Yeah.
I guess it would be the same. I don't really know.
Yeah.
I haven't messed with it too much.
There's so many ways to manage a line, but specific. I have not learned a way like I can in like SolidWorks or AutoCAD in order to reorient lines in more of an engineering manner.
Yeah.
That those software have capabilities of doing. But thanks, Dan, for bringing that one in. So made me look at something more.
Yeah. All right. So this is kind of a fun one. So this is from Oz. He says, the first time I tried the Beast, I said, holy, that thing is bad. Wow.
So if you're wondering what the Beast is, it's a roughing bit from IDC Woodcraft, and I already explained it before, didn't I? That's the one you can go at. I went at 1,000 inches per minute. Right.
That's pretty insane.
Yeah.
Not gonna lie. What wood did you use when you were doing that?
Maple.
Maple. Okay.
That's
pretty cool.
It's fairly hard wood.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay. Very cool. All right. So let's see. Oh, here's a fun one. So Jimbo, he says he's unboxing his PWN spindle right now.
Cool.
That's pretty cool.
Jimbo, I imagine you got on the CNC Insiders list. I released a discount code to the CNC Insiders for those spindles. What he got is creators. If you're using a Makita router, right? We all know the noise that those doggone things make, right? And that they do give up the spirit. We know what that's like too. Many of us do. And anyway, so there's a company out there, PWN CNC. Julian, go ahead and throw the code in the comments. PWN CNC has come up with plug and play spindles that you can just, in an hour, you can have that thing running. They designed it so you pick the machine that you're getting, and I think they'll send you a module with the spindle. You just virtually plug it into the machine control, and you don't and set put the spindle on your machine, and just make sure everything's working, and you go. Right, plug and play. That's like unheard of with spindles. So that's one reason I never touched a spindle, because I never wanted to mess with it. It scared me. I'm not a technical guy. I know how to run CNC machines, but so anyway.
Yeah, that's one of the big things that I've strayed away from spindles too, because just all of the things are just, it's intimidating, and we know what that's like.
Right.
All right, let's move it on down the road here. So we have Burton B. Why is it called a construction line versus a guideline? So,
well, it's called a guideline. It's called a guideline in Vectric. I'm in the habit of calling it a construction line because that's what I've always learned from, years ago. That's the term we used. And that's what I always called it in the software when we dealt with SolidWorks or the 3D modeling softwares and engineering.
Yeah, I hear you. All right, so we have a little testimonial here from Mr. Jerry. He says, I started Kyle Eli's course, just completed level 1, and finding what I learned is well worth what I paid for the course. All the tips and tricks and downloads are amazing. Thank you for the recommendation and encouragement to invest in myself and learning my CNC.
Yes.
Good job, Jerry.
Yeah, investing in yourself. Absolutely.
Yeah.
So Kyle Ely is he has the only course out there that's like a full-blown course, starts from the beginner's level, takes you all the way through the Vectric software at Learn Your CNC. Yes. And as Kate and I both preach, probably every time, at some point it comes up. You bought the machine, you spent thousands of dollars there, you spent money on your bits, you bought IDC Woodcraft bits, you've spent other money in other ways, and you've got several $1,000s invested in your equipment, and you bought the software, but this is where it all comes together at the end of the day. And like most of us, we like to, let's just dive in and try to figure it out. And then we realize it's just not that simple. So I always suggest, and Kate always suggests, that you should at least check out his course. And that's linked in the description along with some other things.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. On that note, I will put out there, I do offer one-on-ones. You can actually find my link over on the Women Who CNC website, or you can register for a session with me over on Garrett's website under the Learning Center. Just go to one-on-one. And if you have any questions about, what other people think, I have several reviews out there now about what we've worked on and what we've done. So if you are interested in setting one of those up, just don't book it for tomorrow. But other than that, that's one thing on my to-do list. I'm like, gosh, I got to book off tomorrow because I know hopefully nobody would do that. But I will not be available tomorrow. But any other day of the week, I'm absolutely happy to work with you on projects or just kind of overcome some hurdles. I mean, and I even was talking to Garrett last week, and I said, if you would just want to talk like maybe some business mentoring or epoxy, stuff like that, absolutely book the session. Like, don't be afraid. Do it, and you'll be pleasantly surprised, because I did one-on-ones with Garrett back in the day when I was first starting, and it took me, just blasted me forward, because I was able to just get all of those questions answered. So it was really helpful.
Yeah. If you've never done a one-on-one, if you're struggling with the software and you feel like you're going too slow, you will, in 1 hour, you will jump miles ahead. Yeah. You're coming in with one problem and you've learned 15 different things in the process. Believe me, you will be miles ahead.
Yep, absolutely.
Let's schedule a one-on-one with Kate, like she said, on her website, Women Who CNC, or on the IDC Woodcraft website.
You got it. All right. Oh, sorry. Oh. I think we both clicked it at the same time.
Yeah.
All right. Hi, Andy. I'm new to CNC and I've tried to start my carve job using a universal G-code sender platform. Every time I start my job, it goes into pause and I can't find any way to resume the job.
I remember those days. I remember those days with Universal G Sender.
Not me. I don't have that.
Brother, I am going to suggest that you take Universal G Sender and wrap it up like this and drop it into the garbage can. Universal G Sender was the core program to use for Arduino-based machines, which is obviously what you're using. But it is not updated. It's built on old Windows platforms, and it's just not managed, and it's clunky these days. I suggest you go to the Longmill website. Julian, throw my Longmill link into the comment. Go to the Longmill website. They have written a control software called G-Sender, and it is so much more user-friendly. They've automated a lot of stuff that Universal G-Code does not automate, and it's got a lot of other features in it. And so I suggest that you go that way. But I remember experiencing that with G-Sender myself back in the day, in the early day. I did not like G-Sender. Universal G-Code Sender. I did not like it at all.
Yeah.
You had to install
It
drivers.
sounds like you've.
Yeah, you had.
It sounds like you struggled with it.
Oh yeah, you had to install drivers into your computer to make it work. It was like, most of us who get into CNC don't know anything about CNC, let alone computers, right?
Yeah, it's like learning another language on top of learning the language that you're already trying to learn.
Yeah. Andy, watch the comments. Julian's putting a link in there for you to go to Longmill. You can just put the Longmill site in there, Julian, and then when you get to the Longmill site, look in their menu tab and find G-Sender.
Very good. Very good. All right. Next up here, we've got Sam. Hello, Sam. Kate, did you ever make snowflakes and fill them with colored epoxy resin? What bit did you use and how deep of a cut? So I will say I did make some snowflakes when I very first started. I actually made them for my kids' teachers as gifts because I was just like, I got mine. I literally 2 years ago, tomorrow, I got my CNC. Can you believe that? And I think my very first project
tomorrow. Wow.
Yeah. Yep. I got it. Well, I actually got it Black Friday. I got it the day after Thanksgiving. And my dad, my husband, my father-in-law, my older boys, and everybody else, I said, we're going to move this table here. I'll show you. We're going to move this table from our garage into my shop. And so out here on this side of the door here is a big pole barn, and we used our tractor and some straps and picked that sucker up and moved it in here. But yeah, I was super excited. I'm like, yes, now we can set up my CNC. But 2 years ago on Friday is when I started. Can you guys believe that?
So how does it go? Happy CNC anniversary.
I guess so. Yeah. Happy CNC anniversary. That's kind of catchy, actually.
CNC anniversary. It's
CNC anniversary.
Yeah.
Anniversary. I don't know. Anyway, it's just wild to look back and go 2 years ago. I was brand new. I didn't know beans from apple butter. I knew no one other than one individual who had owned a CNC, and he was like 3 hours away from me. So it was quite interesting. All right. So back to the snowflake question. So yes, I did make snowflakes. The deepest I will cut with epoxy is 1/4 of an inch if you're using tabletop epoxy. If you want to go thinner, you can go up to 1/8 of an inch. But I will tell you this, something fun I've learned over the years is if you have a laser attachment or just a laser, you can actually etch into the wood, and then you can just put the epoxy on top of like the etching and then just take like a straight edge or something and kind of rake off the top of it and then just let it cure. And then you're using like just barely any epoxy, but you still get that really cool epoxy look. So there's that, but deepest you want to cut with tabletop epoxy is 1/4 of an inch. Shallowest you want to go is 1/8 of an inch, or, you know, a little here nor there. But if you're pocketing something out, yeah, that's what I would do. So, all right. Let's see. We've got, looks like Red Sibs Huskies. Okay. Happy Thanksgiving. Well, happy Thanksgiving to you too. When using a V-bit in a contour toolpath, is there any major cons to be aware of?
V-bit in a contour. I guess that would be a profile.
Yeah, I mean, not really.
Other than paying attention to the depth, your depth of cut.
Well, yeah, but any like major cons?
Asking for cons?
Yeah, are there any major
Oh,
cons?
major
I would
cons.
say the biggest thing would be like if you're doing a V-bit in a profile cut, make sure that the line is far enough away from whatever if you're like, you know, tracing an image or something like that, you want to make sure that your line is out far enough. So then that way it doesn't cut into the design, depending on how deep you're cutting. That would be something that I would,
Yeah.
you know.
One of the things I would think on that as I'm thinking about it, if I'm doing a profile or a contour line, it's basically what the wavelength that Kate and I are on right now is if you're just following a line with a V-bit, right? You're just making this detailed accent in your project.
Right.
When you're doing fine, thin lines, the larger flat bladed V-bits can, if the welded ones can actually be counterproductive to that. It can actually, because they get ground to a point. But what I like to use when I'm doing real fine lines like that is I will use the bladed style V-bits.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I would agree.
Yeah, instead
I
of the
would
flat.
agree.
They have the other ones, they're carbide and it's just ground flat on one edge. But yeah, I would use the bladed ones. The bladed V-bit, they're available at IDC Woodcraft. They're straight shank bits, but they actually have a forward cutting edge on the end of the flute, as opposed to a flat cutting edge where it's scraping.
Yeah. Yeah. Speaking of V-bits, I have a request for a bit.
Oh,
I would like for you to start.
When Kate speaks, I have to listen.
I think you need a downcut V-bit for sign makers, because the struggle is real with the Aura mask, and it doesn't matter how many times I say it and how many different people I talk to and how many videos I put out. People genuinely, really, truly struggle with the Aura mask because V-bits they're upcut bits, and Aura mask it just flings that masking up. So a downcut V-bit would be a real game changer. I think you would do really well with those.
I forgot about that. And yeah, downcut V-bits. Yep. I forgot about that.
Yep.
I will approach that. Julianne, please put that on my list of things to start approaching with my tool makers.
Yes, I would love that. All right, so we'll go ahead and let's see who we got up next here. Super Battle Bros. Hello. I am having an issue with my design cutting even across the board. I have leveled my table and surfaced the project board, both sides. Why would it change? I'm assuming you've done your spoil board and you've surfaced your spoil board. Like, that's the only thing I'm not hearing in this comment.
Yeah. But he knows enough to surface the project. So once the project is surfaced, it shouldn't matter if the spoil board's out or not, so long as the project is surfaced and you didn't move it.
Yeah. cutting even across the board.
Well,
It just,
at the end of the day, when you see that something is off, one way or the other, you are sitting like this with between your machine and your project. The machine is not doing that. The levels of the board relative to the motion of the machine is off. One way or the other. I can't really visualize it. Kate can't really visualize it. Here's what could be going wrong if you've done your surfacing on the board. The other thing,
yeah, that's a. I mean, do you think maybe tramming might be an issue here?
tramming. I don't think so. I mean,
No?
even if a machine is out of tram like that, you should have a nice half moon shape going all the way down, and it should be the same.
Yeah, I mean, I guess that's fair. The only thing I can really think of is your design. I mean, did you measure the design to the board? I mean, these are things that I spiral in my own head when I have certain issues like this. So it's like, okay, the job setup is the piece of the size of wood that you'd be using, and then your design goes on that. So maybe is it the design that you put on your job setup, maybe not as big as the job setup that you put into Vectric or whatever program you're using. I don't know. That's a little tough. If you want to give us a little more context of, maybe what you're doing.
Yeah, WXXRYY is said, but we said too. I mean, if you surface your blank, it'll be true to your Z. When you said the Z plane, it'll be true all the way across. So something got missed. Something got missed along the way here. That brings me to the to the check sheet I designed, right? Because that's one of the steps in the CNC router project setup checklist that I created. Right? It has a material check, it has your router bit check, it's got your XYZ check, and it's got a double check for all this stuff. Right? Once we surface, the whole thickness of our board is changed. Right? On the IDC Woodcraft website, I don't have a copy of it here, but on the IDC Woodcraft website, you will get a pop-up and it says get the checklist. Follow that checklist. And if you follow that, you probably won't have this problem in the first place.
Yeah. It's there are so many things to check. I remember when I was a new beginner, I would be like, check, 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 check. And then I would go and do it all again. The sanity check, as Mark likes to say. And I say that quite often now because that's exactly what it is. It's like, did I turn the vac on? And a valuable tip I kind of ingrained in my brain is like any person who's getting used to a checklist is do things in that order every single time, because that repetition is going to help you remember. So I always turn my vac on first, and then I turn on my router. And then I make sure my program is checked, make sure my programs, I mean, that's probably in reverse order because that's how I like to do things, but goodness gracious.
The idea is doing it, checking it.
Yeah, absolutely.
The point is there are about 20 different steps to a setup process. And when we break bits and things like that, it's because we didn't check something.
Didn't check.
Right.
Yep. It's a hard lesson, but it's true. All right. So here's a nice compliment from Miss Julianne. She says, was a great pick. That's very sweet, Gary. Thank you for sharing that.
Here comes Julianne. She can say thank you. Here you come, Julianne.
Thank you. I appreciate that.
Julianne got her shout out. She definitely was a great pick. Creme de la creme.
Yes, absolutely. All right. Let's see. We have Mr. Brandon Montgomery up next.
Hey,
New
Brandon.
to the CNC world and Vectric V-Carve. Yes, welcome. He says, just received my new bits from IDC Woodcraft and very excited to get to sing
Using.
them.
Using. He forgot the
Oh, get to using. I'm sorry. My eyes are all fuzzy. Getting to use them. My question is, what file formats can be opened in Vectric, VCarve, PDF, SVG, etc.? Etc. is a very long
It is.
list.
You can open up Adobe Illustrator formats that are generated out, right?
Yep. DXF formats. I don't know. You said Adobe, but not. Will it open Illustrator files? I'm not sure. I don't know.
Most of the time, there are a variety of them. Here's how you can tell: open up your Vectric software and go to open a file. All right, and it's going to bring up your directory, and I'll just show you. I'll show you real quick. Let's just and then we can find out.
EPS files. There's all kinds of crazy
so
stuff.
so I've got this, right, and so I'm going to come on, let me get my mouse over to my other screen. Why is it not getting there? There it is. Okay, so I'm just going to open up a new Vectric. We'll just see file. If I can close that job. No, I'm gonna have to open up a brand new Vectric. There we go. Okay. Geez, what was the question again? Okay, so we're gonna.
What types of files can they open?
Yeah. So we're gonna. I just need to open a file. So open up a file, I believe, and right down here, it's going to show all the different file types that Vectric can read. And so I click that.
So you've got Carve, you've got Carve template. That's what the T stands for, is the template. DXF, DWG, .EPS, and I can't read the PDF and SVG. I can't read something else.
The other one is AI, and I can't even read on my screen. That's really tiny.
I know. I'm like,
when I'm sharing, it's really tiny for me on my other screen. So there you go. But that's all the stuff I can read.
Yeah. So there's that. All right. Let's see. We've got a question here from Ralph. Question:
Ralph.
What is the status of the river table?
Whoa.
Well, the river table is sitting on the other side of me right here, and I'm going to be reaching out to my contact, brother James. He's another CNCer that reached out to me. He's down in about 2.5 hours from me. So I have chatted with my husband, and he is going to help me load this sucker up, and we're going to haul it down to James and do some surfacing and get it cleaned up, and then get things under control. It's just been time getting, coordinating all of the stars have to align. We were going to go try and go late last week, and my kids got sick, and so that didn't work. And then this week is the week of Thanksgiving, and of course, people are busy and family comes into town. It's the holiday, so there's that. So I'm hoping to shoot for next week is when I'm going to be hopefully heading down there to do that. So who knows? Maybe we'll take a little road trip with Garrett, and he can go with us. Who knows?
Maybe.
I don't know what we're going to do.
Maybe.
But that's where we're at right now. It's a lot of work. My husband has graciously and generously offered to help me build a router sled to go back and forth. And I don't want to do that. It's an enormous table to do a router sled with, and then the consistency of it and everything else. So that's where we're at with that. All right. Mr. Jerry has another question. He says, Having a sign shop, have you ever used HDU for signs? I am looking for a resource to purchase 1x4x4, 15% density at a reasonable price. I have not cut HDU, but I like the King Color Core. I think if you just look up King Color Core, the website will come up that they actually have very reasonable prices for HDU, and they will cut it to any specifications that you want. If I can remember that, I will try to add that in the comments. Are you looking it up, or what are you henpecking over there?
We get this question a lot, and where can you get it at reasonable prices and what have you, and so it's time to do some research. So I was just sending a message to Julian to make a note for me.
Okay. Yeah, I was trying to think. Well, let's see. All right, we'll circle back to that one.
Well, I'm not going to have an answer tonight. I'm actually going to research this one.
Yeah. All right. Let's see from Mr. Wayne. Hello, sir. Let's see.
Wayne.
What do I do when I go to save a toolpath in Vectric and an error pops up saying the visible toolpaths use different tools than the selected post processor does not support tool changing? Sorry, my hold on. Okay. This is my nephews. I have 4 of them, so they're having a good time outside. This is my life.
That was distracting.
Anyway, yes, sorry, very distracting. Sorry about that, Wayne. All right. So I would say if you're not supported by a tool changer, then you either have the option of saving it as a selected toolpath, or you have the option, I can't remember, there's like save divisible or group.
Yeah, that's not the issue.
Save to multiple.
Yeah, that's not what's happening here. The post processor he is using is looking for tool change. And never mind, Kate, you're right. You're right. I digress. Okay. I was wrong. Kate is right.
No, you're fine. I was just like, oh man, okay.
But first of all, you want to make sure your post processor is the right one.
Yeah. Okay, so you're using the visible toolpaths using different tools. So I think what you're trying to do is you're trying to save multiple different toolpaths with different tools. So let's say, for instance, you're using a 1/4 inch tool, you're using 1/8 inch tool, and then you're using a 90-degree V-bit, and you're saying to save to like one file. The reason you can't save one file is because your CNC does not have an ATC, an automatic tool changer. And so that's why I was saying you need to save to multiple files, using all of each one will get a different file that will be loaded. So like your 90-degree bit will have its own tool path, your 1/4 inch will have its own tool path, your 1/8 inch will, and then your 90-degree V-bit will all have their own separate tool path that you will have to load and change once you change your tool. Or you can save them individually. It's up to you. But you just need to go down in the bottom and you need to like unselect the tools, because I'm sure, right, the reason you're getting that error is because you have them all 3 selected. So that's what you need to do. You need to just select one at a time and save that.
Yeah. So in the save tool path, what Kate was talking about, she's right. I was wrong. It's right at the top of that tool path menu. There's several buttons up top, and what you have the one selected, it says save all the tools to one file. And the post processor is saying no, we can't do that because the machine we're using doesn't have a tool changer. So you have to select the right little radio button. I was trying to find a file so I could show you exactly what you had.
Yeah, no, that's okay.
I
I will
apologize.
put I will make this really quick note for anybody who is using a Onefinity, because I'm a Onefinity user. You cannot do this is something for the BuildBotics Onefinity user. So if you have an Elite, this does not apply to you. But if you have like the Journeyman or the Woodworker, or I can't remember what the other one that Onefinity has, the first 3 series with the BuildBotics motors, you cannot do a tool change. So like, let's say you have a pocketing tool path and you have your 1/4 inch end mill, and then you have your 1/8 inch end mill, and then you go to save those to one file, and you run your 1/4 inch end mill, it does its thing, and then it's going to come back to its Z0 position. The problem with the BuildBotics motors or the system is that the Z will not raise. There isn't like a glitch in the system, and it will not let the Z raise. I actually reached out to Onefinity and asked them if they had, if they were going to pursue this, and they said no. They basically are fixing it with the Elite series going forward, because you'll have the option to get an ATC, and then that will basically solve the problem. But I just kind of want to put that out there. You can still do the pocketing toolpath. You can still have your 1/4 inch and your 1/8 inch. You just need to save them as 2 different toolpaths. So I just want to kind of put that out there, because I know there's a lot of new Onefinity users out there, and it's not you. I promise. It's not you. It's not something you're doing or what you've done. It's just the BuildBotics Onefinities have that glitch in them. So there's that.
And by the way, brothers and sisters, Kate is still Creator of the Month at Onefinity.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I know.
well,
I think about that, and I'm like, so cool. That's so fun.
yeah, listed on their website.
Yeah, very cool. I need to tell my best friend about that. I didn't even mention it.
Oh,
I don't know. You just, you kind of get that recognition, and I just keep chugging along. Sometimes I forget that you need to like take a minute and celebrate and like be in that moment and just enjoy it, because as entrepreneurs, we're always like looking for that next thing. What's next? And you have to stop and like recognize those achievements. So I don't know.
yeah,
Anyway,
you got to celebrate your wins.
Absolutely. All right.
You work hard as an entrepreneur. You got to celebrate your wins.
Yeah,
brother
absolutely.
Sam. He was just telling me last night that Sam had a Facebook reel that went viral. Almost 1 million views in a month.
What?
Yeah.
Sam?
A little.
I'm going to have to look it up.
Video. And it's a 3-second video.
A 3-second video. All right. I have to know what it is. Sam, you need to send it to me. Send it to me in my DMs. Oh my gosh. I have to see it. All right. Let's see. I just got a 2.2 kilowatt 80 millimeter spindle, but some people have been asking if it's worth upgrading from the trim router to a 65 millimeter spindle. Just wondering your opinion on that.
Personally, I have not put my 65 millimeter on yet, so I can't say. It's going on next week. I'm about 2 weeks behind getting it put on.
Yeah, I will say, I know you can go from the trim router to the 65 millimeter because you can just basically drop them in and they're the same size. But the 80 millimeter is definitely a lot bigger. It's heavier, and you need to make sure that your bar can handle that. Your gantry can handle the support of an 80 millimeter spindle. So I know with the Onefinity, you can buy the extra rail to put that on there. All right. Let's see. Mr. Mike says, Garrett, did you sell your Bob's E4? How hard was it to sell? I have the E3 and I'm about to get ready to get the long mill.
Yeah. No, I actually didn't sell the E4. I'm kind of, I won't sell it. It's, I won't use it anymore because it's not a strong machine. right? It's a wood frame machine, right? But it is what started IDC Woodcraft. Everything started with that machine on my kitchen table in my living room, throwing sawdust all over my apartment. That's how IDC Woodcraft started. So it's my little badge of honor machine.
I know. Sometimes you just get so like attached. You're like, it's where my humble beginnings started
Yeah.
from.
Yeah, I might frame it and just hang it on the wall.
Oh gosh. Oh my gosh. I love
So
that.
I can't really say I didn't try to sell it. No.
All right. All right. Let's see. Let me get rid of that one. All right.
Mike,
Let's see.
when you decide to order your long mill, if you would get the link from me, that I get a little bit of a commission. It gets me a burger and a beer. So
Yeah. Very
enough
nice.
to get a burger and a beer. So
Absolutely. Be sure to use those affiliate links. It really helps us out.
Yeah.
You know, do what we do. So, all
This
right,
is
Mr. Bruce.
kind of our lifeblood, right? We are building businesses, and right, we depend on that.
Yeah, and it helps out so much because when we're doing things like this, yes, we are absolutely here for the community and we want to show up for you guys because that's what we're passionate about. But it does take time away from our families. It takes time away from our businesses. Things like that. So it's nice when you guys, use those affiliate links for products that we recommend. It really does help support us as entrepreneurs to keep doing what we're doing and to keep showing up. So thank you for that. All right. So we have a good question here from Mr. Bruce Berry. He says, Kate, I am having trouble with my Onefinity probing. Can you help? Yeah, Bruce, you can send me an email. Feel free. You can send me an email over at womenwhocnc at gmail.com. And if you don't remember that, it's in the description of the video where you can contact me. Or I can't remember what Garrett put in there. It might be my Rise and Shine Gmail as well. So either one is fine. Feel free to reach out. All right, let's see. So we have JJ here.
Hey, JJ.
I like to Z0 the model on the material surface, but do the cutout with the Z0 at the table. Is there an easy way to do this to keep the Z0 with the toolpath?
I think the question what he's asking. So this is a technique that you can do when you're doing your carvings, right? As you're carving the top of the project, you probe off the top. And when you're doing a cutout, you probe off the surface of the spoil board. So you don't actually cut into your spoil board, or not very much at all, right? But that requires 2 generations. You have to generate your G code while you have the top selected. Then you have to go back into the software and reselect the surface, let it recalculate your tool paths, and then save that G code so you can probe the bottom. And there is not a way that I know of that you can have it work both in one time.
Yeah, no, not that I've noticed. Actually, I don't know if this is true, but this is just an idea. I mean, I guess, I don't know. I guess they're like using the sheets, like the sheets option. It'd be a little bit tricky, but you could duplicate the project that you have on one sheet and then move it to the next sheet, because when you're using sheets within Vectric, it comes up with basically like a new job setup.
Yeah.
So you could do one project with your interiors, if you will, with your datum on the top left, or on the material surface, I'm sorry, and then go in and save those toolpaths.
No, you're a genius. Hell yeah, it'll work that way. If you've got VCarve Pro, if you have any of the Pro versions or Aspire, then you can do that. Use the sheets thing. We don't have enough time to explain it at this point tonight.
Yeah.
But
yeah.
sheets.
But yeah.
Ooh,
That
really exciting.
that would be something that I would explore using the Sheets method, because like I said, if you're not familiar with it, Sheets is basically 2 different jobs within one Vectric program, if you will. It allows you to have multiple different jobs open within the same job. So
I actually showed this. I didn't mean to do that. I was trying to get the sheet.
that's
I
all right.
wanted to bring it up, but I'll do that. This is an award I'm actually making. But when I set a goal, that big A on it. When I set a goal for myself, I actually carve out the objective. And on my wall here are 2 carvings here of that. I got the award that I carved that out. Now I'm going for that.
I love
one.
it.
Yeah.
I love it.
Anyway, so
You
that's
know,
what
it's so funny. Maybe I need to start doing something like that. Just looking at it and that like mental reminder. Just keep.
It's always in your environment, but I also think it's because you put a certain amount of energy into it, not just thinking about it and then writing it down. I write it down repeatedly every day.
Yeah.
But then you take the time to actually create it and make a physical object in your environment.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. I love it.
Yeah. Do that.
All right.
Yeah, decide what you want and just take the little bit of time out to carve out that project.
Absolutely. 100%. All right. Let's see. We've got Mr. James here. Any new videos on working with plexiglass? I don't do a lot of plexiglass, so I'm going to have to say no from me. But Garrett, you?
No. Nope. I have nothing on plexiglass. I don't even cut plexiglass. All right. Plexiglass is too flimsy. It doesn't cut well. You want to use acrylic, cast acrylic.
Okay.
I think I've got a couple older videos on it. I need to do something to update because I've got to create little videos on all the router bits that are at IDC Woodcraft. So, and remember, Black Friday starts tomorrow at IDC Woodcraft. Here's the way I've got this worked out. It's a tiered sale, right? So if you populate your cart with $120 or more in product, your cart will automatically go 5% discount. When you hit
very nice.
$200, it'll switch and go to 10% discount. And as you're going up, when you hit $350 and above, it flips to 15% discount across the board.
Nice.
So that's going on from tomorrow all the way through Cyber Monday.
Okay. Well, you heard it here, folks. Take advantage of it while you can.
Yeah. And the badger.
All right.
I'm expecting how much longer, Julian? Hold up your fingers. 2 weeks, 3 weeks? What? I think we're the badger is can I say 3 weeks, Julian? 2 weeks, 3 weeks? Maybe. We're working on it. So the badger is the new mini hog, mini beast. And CNC insiders always get first dibs and they always get a discount. They always get a 15% discount. When I release it to the public, they don't get that. So if you're not on the CNC Insiders list, which is the IDC Woodcraft email list, where you will get a bunch of tips, I will email you all the discounts I've acquired from CNC companies. And you get 15% off on every new bit I get released if you want to grab it. So CNC Insiders, sign up is in the description below or above and wherever the description is in the videos. So YouTube is
very cool. All right. So let's see what we've got here. So Mr. Brandon, he says, I use FlexiSign at work for designing and was trying to figure out if I could design in Flexi and import into VCarve. Thank you both for your help. So he was the one who asked about different file types being imported in. Okay. So good. I'm glad we were able to handle that for you. All right, so let's see. We've got Mr. Patrick. Saw your video from AWFS on the Legacy Maverick. Are they doing anything with legacy woodwork machinery?
am I doing anything with this? Okay, so to give a foundation of what he's asking, I was at the Association of Woodworkers and Furnishing Suppliers in Nevada in July, and huge trade show. And so I did interviews with some of the CNC companies that were out there. How my camera sideways, isn't it? It's like sitting in the old Bat show, the Batman show. They used to, like the old one. When they show the Bat Cave, they're always sideways in the screen. But
Yeah.
and so one of the companies that I interviewed was Legacy CNC, and I just really appreciated the way their philosophy, and I really liked what he does with his machines, because he makes them so flexible. Not like bending flexible. In the bed of the machine, he has an indexer. You can have an index, you can have a rotary, and it's an indexing rotary, so it can tilt up like that. He's got all kinds of stuff on those machines. So, but am I doing something with it? I'm assuming, am I going to be getting one? That's not really on the plate at the moment, but it's not out of the question.
Yeah, that'd be neat. There's a lot. Gosh, there's just so many incredible things you can do with CNCs. It's just not even funny. I mean, there's just like, it's just insane.
Well, I had somebody call me today, and they were asking me about the Legacy, and because they saw that video as well, and they asked me, how does it compare with the Phantom, which is the pro level machine that I have, and the difference is this guy wanted to do cabinet work. And so the difference is the Phantom is built more for production work, right? You have doing multiple parts over and over again. It's simply because of the type of controller that you have, right? The Phantom has a handheld pendant, so you're not watching things on a monitor, whereas the Legacy does have a monitor, and it's much more flexible for when you're doing cabinet work. It's always custom, right? So it's a little easier to work with that way. So that's some answers to your question.
Yeah, absolutely. All right, let's see here. All right. Oh, so we had some very generous donors here. Richard, thank you for the $10 donation. Thank you.
Thank you. Got a super sticker.
Yeah. I don't know what that means, but sounds fancy.
Yeah, it sounds really cool. Yeah. And then, thank you, Richard.
Yes.
And it looks like Ellen has contributed to us as well.
Yeah, absolutely. She says, Happy Thanksgiving. Happy Thanksgiving to you, sister. And thank you for your time and all that you do for Garrett and I behind the scenes, and just being supportive and just being awesome in general. So thank you.
And just so you know, Kate has taken time out of her family time, right? Her family's there right now, and this is what we do. We join up, right? We got to show up as people, when we're running businesses, because people like you.
Absolutely.
And so I did run a business. There is sacrifice.
Yeah.
Thank you. Yeah. Absolutely. Thank you guys for contributing. The way they did that is in YouTube on the IDC Woodcraft channel, just below the video. One of the sides here, there's a little money icon, right? And that's how you can contribute. And that's the way you tell us and support us and tell us that we're helping you out in some way or shape or form.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. Oh, all right. So Dan had a question here. I do want to make note of the time. It is, we've been on here for about an hour and 40 minutes. So we'll probably be wrapping up pretty quickly.
Yep. We'll knock off those 3 questions. All right. I'll answer this real quick. So is it a long cut bit like the hog? No. The Badger is a 1/8 roughing bit like the hog, but it has a 5/8 flute length, right? I wanted this bit to be stout. So it had to be 5/8. It's got a thick core in it. It's 3 flute. And so there's your answer. What was the other part of the question? How long will it be? Oh, it's the length. Okay, so it's 1 3/4 inches long, and a 5/8 flute length.
Okay. Well, I can say I have one, and it's pretty badass. It
That's
does.
like
I actually
no.
have a, huh?
Never
It
mind. Go
is.
ahead. I said
I
that's
have
all
a
I
video. I'm actually.
badass.
It is. I mean, it really is. It's pretty cool. I won't lie. I really like using it. I actually just did a well, here, I'll grab the project and I'll show you what I did. I just finished it. So this is a tree of life design that I did, and I used the hog to get the the big parts of it. Is it sideways? It's sideways. Anyway, and then I did
Don't move as much because you're getting pixelated.
Oh, sorry. So I did the 1/8 inch badger. I came in here and I got all these really tiny little lines. Is it still pixelated or is it good?
No, you're good. As long as you sit still, it's good. Go ahead.
Anyway, that's a lot of these little bitty lines and stuff like that. I mean, it did it super quick. So
It's 130 inches per minute. Did you run it at 130 inches per minute?
I think I ran it at 100 inches a minute. I really didn't want to press it too much because it's a pine round. And so it's not that I was afraid that the bit couldn't handle it, because that wasn't it. I was more worried about the integrity of the wood and those little vines and stuff. I just didn't want them to be like, get really shredded and then break off and make the project look yucky.
Gotcha.
So, all right. So Ellen had a good question. Is double dipping with Kate's code and your code allowed? It's worth a shot.
Unfortunately not. No. The codes, coupon codes will not be, cannot be double stacked. Right.
Cannot be stacked.
No.
All right.
As soon as the discount kicks in, discount codes can't be used.
Yeah. All right.
It's a nice question, but then it starts hurting my bottom line.
Yeah. All right. So Jared says, do Q&As allow the participants to share pictures or videos to get a more in-depth look at other people's projects for discussion or problem-solving purposes? I don't believe so.
No.
Not on a live.
No, we would have to actually bring you on board.
Yep. Carrie Lynn, here's the question for you. What level of purchasing amount to reach a 90% discount off?
I think if we get to around $60,000, I think we can start talking.
Nice. All right. Mr. Ralph says, question, Kate, was the wave and the flag cut with the CNC? I know you mentioned that you had V-Curve Pro. Yes, it was. I really think the wavy flag STL was done very, very well. I think it's got to be something. I mean, I have been running my machine like crazy. I am not going to sugarcoat that or lie. My shop has been exceptionally busy, and I feel like my machine might need some tramming done. So I don't think that it was the STL. I really don't. I don't think that was the issue at all. I think it's got something to do with my machine. I feel like whenever I purchase STLs from anyone, whether it's on like a private website or it's from Etsy, I always read the reviews, and the reviews can either make or break a project for me. And this particular owner of this design had rave reviews, and he has a bunch of really great models. And so I felt very confident in buying from him. So just want to put that out there. Sometimes it's not always the STL model, or I mean, it's easy to blame shift onto someone else. I mean, that's a very easy thing to do. I have more integrity than that. It's not them. If the model looked good and the reviews were good and there weren't any bad reviews, I would say then it's probably me. It's probably my machine, or maybe it's just throwing a temper tantrum. It's just tired. I don't know. I mean, sorry, I'm going to close the evening with shit happens. And sometimes our CNCs get a little out of whack and need some alignment. And I'm fairly certain that's what's happened here. But like I said, I'm not going to tear someone else down. I'm going to check into my machine. I'm going to look at what's going on with me. And like I said, I'll lower the model. I'll resurface it, or not surface it because you can't really surface the wavy flag, but I'll hog it back out. I'll start over and it'll be good to go. So there's that.
Yeah.
All right. On that note, do you want to say anything about Thanksgiving or, any of the good stuff for tonight before we wrap up?
No, there's one more question here, though, real quick. I just want to answer that one.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. Any new thoughts on the alt mill from CNC? So Long Mill is working on a 4x4 machine. So that's what he's talking about. I talk to them every 2 weeks, and they are actively designing it. So they don't have a due date yet. I take that back. They're getting some components in now, and I think they're actually just establishing pricing on it. So,
Okay.
well, I will pick that up. Also, just so you know, they're also designing a CO2 laser.
Oh.
Yeah.
So what is the alt mill for those of us who are in the dark on?
It's another CNC router. It's just
Okay.
a 4x4. It's a larger machine. It's, to take in like the X50. It's, that would be their competition type of thing.
Okay. Very cool.
Yeah.
Very cool. Good to know.
All right. Well, brothers and sisters, for whatever questions that Julianne stopped answering, bringing the questions up at 9:00 because we got to,
Yep.
Maybe she didn't. She's saying she didn't. So it looks like everybody was very nice and said, we won't ask any more questions after 9:00. Yeah. So have an awesome weekend. Remember to check the links in the description down below. Sign up for the CNC Insiders list. If you're a female creator, get on the Women Who CNC Facebook group. Right.
Yep.
And if you need a one-on-one, go to either idcwoodcraft.com or Kate's womenwhocnc.com, and you can schedule time with her. And remember,
Absolutely.
Black Friday is starting tomorrow with IDC Woodcraft. And when the banner is up on the website, you will know it is going. Right around noon, we are going to launch it. That's
All
noon
right.
Standard Time.
Yes. And I will say, I hope everyone has a wonderful Thanksgiving, a very blessed Thanksgiving. I will say I am very, very thankful for all of you who have supported me in, any way that you have or could have. So I just want to say I'm thankful for all of you. I hope you guys all have a great Thanksgiving. You stay safe, travel safe, and enjoy. Just take the time to enjoy the day tomorrow. That includes you, Garrett, Mr. Worky Work.
Yeah. I will say one more thing. Sunday. This is my favorite time of year, the Thanksgiving holiday, because my birthday always falls right around it. Sunday is my birthday.
Oh, Sunday? No.
Yeah.
All right. Should we even ask how old you are? Or is that like a no?
I'll be 62 years young.
Awesome. Well,
I don't use the word old. Another word to take out of your language is the word old. When people talk to me, I'm just getting old. I say, you aren't old. You're just a young puppy, man. Anyway, yeah. So don't
Very
send
cool.
in birthday cards or anything.
All right. Well, I hope everyone again has a happy and blessed Thanksgiving, and we will see you next Wednesday right here at 8 p.m.
Hasta la vista.
All right.
Happy Thanksgiving.